Let us build a bridge of music, let us cross the river song. Let us find another canyon, let us write another wrong. Oh, and if someone should ask us where we're up and bound today, we will tell them building bridges and be off and on our way. Oh, and if someone should ask us where we're up and bound today, we will tell them building bridges and be off and on our way. We will tell them building bridges and be off.
We will tell them building bridges and be off and on our way. Welcome to Bridges Programming. This is Sunday on the Front Stoop. We have with us as normal Susan Beaumont, Dennis Carius on the phone. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Jeff. Hi, Susan.
Hello, Dennis.
And then Lou Ismay, who's been a social justice leader forever, as far as I can remember. And he just came back from Japan, and I asked him to please join us. My name is Jeff Feller, and you're listening to Sunday on the Front Stoop, the longest stoop in the world. And you can call in on this number if you choose. It's hard for me to tell you how to do that because I don't know. But it's on Google Hangouts, and it's a live show, and it's from 10 to 11, but we may go a little longer. And then you can see us. If you think what we're saying is worthwhile listening to, please tell your friends, and it'll be immediately on YouTube under Bridges Programming. So there we are. Okay, we've heard a lot about the Pope, but Lou, in conjunction with the Pope, Lou came back about a week ago from
Probably came back on the same.
About the same plane, the same time.
The timing was almost the same.
So we're going to do.
There's a reason for that. There's some kind of conjunction there.
So that's the story. So here we are back here. You'll see on the screen Bridges Programming and the website, the HREM, the Renewable Energy, Human Renewable Energy Measurement, which is we feel as though is what the Pope is talking about. All human beings have to have their basic needs met for a minimal amount of their life labor because we share our stuff in conjunction. In common. And that's what he kept on saying, in common, when he addressed Congress the other day. And I think he even made John Boehner. He reduced
John Boehner to tears. And then, I think his conscience started to go forward.
But the Pope is saying all the right things, and most of our religious people are, but they don't have the measurement. So that's what the HRM stands for. And we also have a non-profit company, which has been around for about 40 years, called Renew the Earth. And you'll see on the programming, on the websites are on our scroll, you'll see. And then there's also a free download book about climate change by Susan Beaumont. So you can go to
for children,
Renew the Earth, and you can have a free download for that. And you must realize that
it's a fantasy look at climate change to help introduce children to it in a non-threatening manner so that they can be ready in their as they grow up to deal with it in their own way and make things better for the next generation.
Okay, well now, Lou, you just came back from Japan. You're on.
Do you want me to read my introduction?
Go ahead,
read
your introduction.
So you can.
No,
okay. Well,
no, we read that so people know what we're looking at.
This is what the program that you're looking for on YouTube. We have the pleasure of talking with Lou Ismay. He's been a human rights, social justice, peace advocate all his life. He started out as a teacher, progressed to radio and cable television in Albany, New York area, commentator on current events with his program Democracy Now! Week in Review. Lou Ismay is a friend and a true friend of humanity. Today, we will talk to him about his trip to Japan. He timed it to the anniversary of the U.S. bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
And he wasn't feeling that well when he got there. He put a disclaimer in this before he got on the show and said that he actually didn't drive around too much. He just was going to sightseeing where people could see it. Now I'm going to ask Susan to hold these pictures up to that camera when Lou hands them to her.
Okay.
And then we can
that camera?
Yes, the camera with the
right.
So we'll be able to see them. Let's see how that works. We're just going to give this one shot.
Let's see how this.
Can you go? You've got to go much closer though.
Okay.
And try not to trip over the microphone.
If I do, you'll know it.
Can you pull the camera over?
If I do that, then we won't get the proper shot.
Okay,
All right.
where
Can
do
you
you
go a
want?
little closer? That's pretty good.
Okay, I'll just sit here and
Okay,
I'll be the
well,
picture
pass.
putter upper.
Okay, and this is not high tech stuff. This is as best as we can do with the technology we
good.
have.
Why don't, that's the way we'll do it. You just hand them to
Okay,
me.
what's that? What's that
Let me
picture?
make some comments.
Certainly.
First of all, the roads are very narrow. This is not in the city of Tokyo, but in
Oh,
the area.
Susan, thanks for holding it right up to the screen.
They're
Thank you.
very narrow.
Narrow
The
streets.
sidewalks are frequently not much more than 2 feet wide.
It looks like they actually are parking on the sidewalk, if that's possible.
Oh, well, that's just somebody doing that, but
Yeah.
that's not the
Not
normal
the norm.
situation. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
Things move around on motorcycles.
Cool.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do is edit as I
So
go
there not
along.
not that many,
I've got a number of photos, but
not that many
all right, now
automobiles, most.
that's a mailman,
Ah,
identifiable
by his red,
red thing, yeah.
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 Amazing.
Now, there are a great many U.S. food stores.
Mm.
For example,
Like a
Burger King is there, McDonald's is there.
Oh, what a
No,
shame.
they're still saying Burger King on that, or they have a different name. There's a Burger King in Australia, but they don't call it Burger King, but it looks like it.
The ones I saw said Burger King.
Okay, that's
So
good.
it's a real, no, I don't know that that's.
Okay, now if you hold that a little bit facing the other way, it won't reflect so much. Okay, down,
Yeah,
just be the other way toward the, that's it.
All right, so pizza moves the same way as other commodities on the back of a motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
Some of them are plain white, grocery stores and so
Mhm.
along the highways
That's
and along in the larger stores, beverages are available. Sometimes it's both hot and cold, but this is typical of one in the next shop.
So we still have the economic system is alive and well in Japan. Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut. Right.
Sometimes there'll be 2 or 3 of those lined up with the beverages of various kinds.
The same commercial structure in Japan as we have here. Same Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut, Burger King, McDonald's, all that stuff. Okay, I mean, it's sort of interesting to see that all over the world.
We'll continue.
Couple of things that aren't in photographs. Tattoos. Tattooed people, or tattoos are not permitted on beaches. One has to cover up the tattoo.
Ah,
The reason is, and people with tattoos are called yakuza. Yakuza are thugs. They're criminals.
oh,
And years ago, criminals were tattooed.
right.
So
To identify them.
the culture, these still are bad people.
Mm.
Right? So there are military people that I've seen walking around with tattoos as people walk around here in the States.
Yeah,
Body tattoos, arms, legs, and so forth, neck.
yeah.
They can't go to any public beach. They can't go anywhere where they would show those tattoos other than just on the streets.
Oh,
Amazing.
interesting. So they make an exception for them walking about, but
Well, I didn't
not
see
in-
anybody walking about,
Oh.
but I'm specifically forbidden certain places,
Right.
beaches,
Yeah.
the saunas, whatever these
Right.
hot springs.
they're more exposed.
Right.
Right.
You close that door, my dear.
Apartment buildings are recognizable with the 2 features showing. Balconies for every apartment
Mm.
and outdoor stairwells,
Okay.
some uncovered and some that are covered.
So this is what you'll see as your
Yeah,
normal
large,
living.
small, you'll see balconies on buildings.
Yeah, this looks familiar. You know, we have some architecture very much like this also for.
Well, this is seems to be universal,
Right.
at least in the area. I didn't drive. I was not able to walk. So wherever you see a photograph, because a family member drove me there.
Wonderful.
Now this is an example.
Now, your family member, you said that. What is that? You have family
Well, I don't
members?
want to get into family.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Family stuff is private.
Okay.
All right. You see the
balconies.
the stairwells
On the stairwells. Okay,
Yeah.
now that's a
It's a
stairwell.
stairwell. It's not a well. It's just flight of stairs.
Outside
It goes
staircase.
Outside, yeah.
Right, an outside staircase.
And it's covered, it looks like, maybe.
Well, this one is in a sense, but there are some that have very nice covers, about 8 feet or so above the stairs themselves.
And that's interesting because that way you get a sense of fresh air when you're walking downstairs.
Yeah.
There's elevators inside, I'm sure, right?
I wasn't aware of that. I was only aware of the.
So you have to walk up the stairs, 8 floors.
Well, walking and bicycling are 2 features in Japan.
Well, that's the healthcare system then.
Well, I don't know.
Keeps you healthy. I know that in France too.
Right, they do this with their subways, my God.
Okay.
Now, the bottom floor of large businesses, department stores, for example,
You can take that away now.
is devoted to food.
Uh-huh.
And there are a couple of photographs of that this here. Notice that at the very end there are bananas, each one individually
Oh, this is
wrapped.
beautiful.
Each one individually wrapped.
Oh.
The food, it's called dakachaka. That's the name of that floor with these delicacies.
And every
These are all
floor,
run by vendors of various kinds.
Look how beautifully presented.
Here's some.
is more food. This looks like pastries.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
I'm just going to show a couple of these.
I mean, this is you say this is the bottom of every floor they have.
It's like,
At the larger stores.
it's like an
I
array.
don't know the extent, but this is
Those
the
look like
only,
breads
this is
and
the one
pastries.
that I was,
I'm getting hungry.
and this is a crowd. Now,
Oh,
at
this is
7 o'clock,
beautiful.
at 7 o'clock in the evening, prices are slashed.
And
So
here's,
people crowd in for that last hour.
Oh, to get the Best Buy,
oh, what a good idea.
so they don't have leftover food.
Oh, amazing. Yes, so they aren't throwing stuff away like we do here.
Now, this is
Oh,
just
my
some idea of advertisements on at a railroad station.
Well, this is the same setup.
What a good idea. That's a wonderful idea.
This is the same setup we have here. They want to advertise like crazy to make money. It's still part of the economic system.
So you're saying, I'm gonna repeat this, 7 o'clock in the evening, everything goes,
This
and is it
particular,
part of Tokyo?
in this particular.
And how much do you think they would be slashed by?
I don't know
Yeah.
the word slash.
Yeah,
Sale, that's the word saying was sale.
how much would the sale, at half price or?
I have no
Well,
idea.
Yeah,
you-
right.
But it's.
That's such a
it's
good
the only
idea.
thing.
It's such a good idea.
So you don't have waste product.
You're not
Yeah.
wasting, you're not throwing away all these. Now
Now,
this one's,
another thing is I did not see any surveillance cameras anywhere,
wonderful.
interior,
Yeah.
exterior.
Wow,
Right.
that's something.
I saw lots of bicycles.
Mhm.
Bicycles are not stolen.
Yeah,
They're unlocked,
oh, unlocked,
unlocked.
wonderful.
So
Yeah.
tells you something about
And it's the
country.
same level of economic development as we have here, maybe even more sophisticated.
Now, this is a shot of a police station. Please notice the size of the police station. See, obviously, that's not as nearly as roomy as ours.
Just a little
I did
teeny.
not see police. Occasionally, I saw a police car.
And do they carry
But
arms?
I didn't see anybody on patrol.
Right.
There's a car right there. I noticed there's a car on that.
It's a police car.
Yeah, there's a yellow and black car.
It's not
But
a,
the police station looks like the size of a small,
like a,
a large garage.
like
maybe.
an auto repair garage.
And a second floor above it for offices. And here's your firehouse. That's a lot bigger than
Fire
the,
and the ambulance.
and that's a lot bigger than
Well,
the
that
police
makes
station.
sense, because that's for
Now-
public safety.
The only sirens I heard were the ambulance sirens. And notice there are no doors. Those vehicles are there in the open,
They're ready to go.
ready to go.
Right, they're gonna put this other one, whoop, upside down. Yeah, that they're open.
Can you see that all right, Dennis?
Oh, Dennis can see all of these very well, yes, very good.
Now,
Mhm.
now,
I feel like I'm there.
automobile rules, driving regulations are taken seriously.
Wow.
These are a picture of an automobile and two things about it, which is part of special.
I don't want to show the license plate number, because this is a worldwide show.
I'll put my finger over it.
Okay, put your finger over the license.
Just show the, at least show the color.
It's a Subaru, it's a Subaru.
Well, you gotta show the, here,
And the other one.
Well, the color of the license plate.
I want the color of the license plate, just a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a yellow license plate.
right.
All of us are white, that's yellow. There are two features of it.
Mhm.
There's a decal on the rear, you see it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right, and there's a decal on the front.
right.
Yellow indicates an efficient propulsion unit.
Ah,
The engine is
Economic.
smaller.
It's
Smaller.
environmentally sound.
Yeah, in this case, in particular car, it's a motorcycle engine.
mhm. Oh,
But-
wow.
So the taxes are lower, the efficiencies, and this is an indication of that fact to others. The decal front and back
Yes.
indicates that this driver of this vehicle has been driving for less than 5 years.
Okay.
There's another decal which I did not see for geezers, right, at whatever age.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is, if there's a collision, the driver of the other car should have known that the car was either driven by somebody at the other car less than 5 years, or they're older than a certain age.
Right.
So they have a responsibility
To be more careful,
for that collision.
they have to be more careful, and if they have a collision, they're responsible.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, that's great.
That's
At least that's what I was
The
told.
impression you got, well, it gives people a heads up.
So
You don't, like here,
Yeah.
you don't know who's driving.
so
you're
somebody
looking in the
who's
window.
younger is more responsible than somebody who's older?
No, if they haven't been out on the road that
Now,
long.
wait a minute, what are we talking about?
Less
Okay.
than-
I said,
No.
let me clarify.
Certain.
The driver with that decal is known to the public, to the other drivers, less than 5 years driving experience.
Right. Yeah,
So the implication is you're apt not to do everything correctly.
right.
Ah, so the
Yeah, I
older
got that
person is
impression.
more responsible than the younger person.
But if you're an
Well, it
ancient
applies,
person,
yeah, but it's confusing. It applies, that same rule applies to people who are driving over a certain age.
right. You see, it's both ends, Jeff.
It's at both ends.
So you should be able to make a judgment.
And the people who are in the between
In
have
the
to be more
between have the
responsible.
responsibility, a certain responsibility to avoid or to be cautious, extra
Okay.
careful.
Right, around
Let's
the
see that
car
next
that has
picture.
that decal.
And the white license
So
plate?
you don't get, the white is normal, just a different color, okay.
And you mentioned something about that the tax structure is different if you have a more efficient vehicle.
Yes, it is.
That's
You
amazing.
pay less money.
So they're
Businesses-
encouraging the more efficient.
Businesses are apt to be right up to the sidewalk. If there isn't a sidewalk, they're right up to the curb.
Oh.
I mean, there are no curbs,
This is like
right?
Turn it to a little bit to your left, the other way so you get the glare off, that's it.
this is like a garden center or a.
Well, it has to be a
Nursery.
flower store, yeah,
Florist.
florist.
Right.
But it could be a bar and grill, it could be anything,
Oh,
right up to close to
Yeah.
well, yeah, there are grills up close, bars. Anyway, No, look, I don't want to monopolize.
Yes,
No,
we
we
want
don't.
you to
We
monopolize.
want to
This is-
find out what you found in this.
I mean, I'm
No,
learning all kinds of
just
things,
want-
because
yeah.
I'll probably never get to Japan,
This
so
is
this
not
is
an
very
artsy
interesting.
kind of a.
This is very interesting.
Architecture. This is a railroad crossing. Railroads are.
I wanna see everything.
Are plentiful. That's just one of the railroad crossings.
Now, we're gonna talk about railroads, because they have over 100 miles that goes on for forever, and
Well,
it's a very sophisticated
a
railroad.
couple of signs I was interested in signs. Along the main highways, this is a little photograph.
Aha!
Now look, there's an umbrella.
Yeah,
That means it's raining or it's going to rain.
Ah.
It's inclement weather.
if they're letting you know.
Right on the
You
sign.
know,
Right on the
The
sign.
speed limits on the highways are controlled.
By the
Speed
weather.
limit is set according to the weather.
Oh,
Whether-
that's delightful.
And if there's a volcano
There.
or a tsunami, the roads are closed. You get off the nearest exit.
Mhm.
And they put a symbol on there to show you what the speed limit is.
And then,
And that makes a lot of sense, because I noticed around this country, we get 75-mile-an-hour speed limits in some parts of the world, but if it starts to rain, they're still doing 75 and 80, and they shouldn't be driving that fast, because the roads are much more slippery and they're more dangerous. Or foggy, they still want to go the same speed.
and being an island, as Japan is an island, they're much more vulnerable to the
Well, there's a
weather.
whole string of islands.
Yeah, string of islands, and
Now, I
it's
was
like
in-
they're
I
all
was
on.
interested in signage.
Oh,
There's a railroad crossing.
evacuation.
Was that the evacuation route in case of hurricane, in case of,
Just
and that
a
gets.
tsunami.
Yeah,
That's a
okay, here's one more.
I mean, we don't have signs like that. You know, they're really dealing with
No,
some
we actually.
natural forces.
Well, in Florida, we have
Not
evacuation
tsunami signs that I've ever seen. Maybe you've seen them. Well, that's
Railroad signs are pretty common. That's common. We wouldn't. It is
You
one
would-
more here. Mike.
you wouldn't
There's one more
misunderstand
here.
that, right.
Okay.
Here's a sign in the McDonald's.
Now, what does this indicate, Lou?
Railroad
No
crossing.
parking.
No parking. Okay.
And how about? And this is to the bathroom, I think. The
Good thing.
McDonald's.
Very important, very important.
That's the bathroom.
No,
No, that's escape
Oh,
route.
that's escape out.
Yeah.
It looked like a guy going to the bathroom.
there are parking areas, limited parking areas. I don't know how many there are, but this is just an example of one. There are two photographs, one from the exterior and the other from the interior. And when you look at the interior one, notice the back wall, how the top of that is shaped.
Okay.
When you say parking area, what do you mean
This
by?
is where people go
Public
to
park?
smoke in the public places at a railroad station, in the vicinity of a railroad station.
Where you can gather and wait for the train?
Well, that's the back of it. You can look at it.
Okay, here's the front of it.
You see how?
Oh, it's
You see how the
shielded.
top of that is shaped
Yeah,
to
right.
get the smoke away from the public area, and at least make some attempt to get.
Oh, public sitting area for
For
smoking.
smoking.
It's not a sitting area, it's
It's a
standing. You go in there and-
For smoking.
So is there a lot of smoking in Japan
Well,
still?
A great many no smoking signs.
Yeah.
Even on the walkways, you look down and there are. Now, it's taken seriously as a national focus. Recycling.
Ah.
Some of them are cardboard boxes, as there were at a festival, which I'll show you.
Mhm.
They also are stainless steel. So they're very easy, it's taken seriously. The food court, recycling.
Mhm.
Food court, you wash your hands before you sit down. There's a place to wash your hands, open.
Yeah.
And to get the glass of water, or a cup
Right.
of water, so forth.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Very
This-
sanitary.
these
Keeping
are-
the,
all the other ones that I saw were neatly stacked, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
You recycle.
wonderful. We have a friend who's
She's
been
from
here in the
Japan.
United States since she was a child, and she's from Japan. And she is like the most avid recycling individual
Oh, yeah.
I've ever met.
Very important.
Yes. And she's just,
And
she'll be mad at you if you don't. You know.
Yeah. The trash is removed from the garbage
And sorted.
at some point.
So the garbage is all put together, but
And
then it's separated.
That's so important
Well,
what you're saying about the washing of the hands in a public eating area, because then they don't spreading the germs.
Yeah.
You know, it's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about a lot that I observed.
Yeah. Right.
All right, now, these were vendors at a festival. Look at the spacing. There was food and things to buy. I was fascinated with this next photograph.
Oh yeah, the little booths.
Can you get that a little closer?
The booths. I don't know if the focus is
Well, you
sufficient
can't read
to
all
get
of the
that.
vendors.
Oh, but everyone's a little different. So the spacing's about, would you say about 5 foot apart? Or 6
Yes,
foot apart?
5 or 6 feet.
Looks like it just rained too. I can see it.
Water.
It was wet, yeah.
Right.
All right,
And
now,
this is what you'll see at this is
Oh
one of
my
the events.
gosh, what a wonderful picture.
now,
This is like
at that
amazing.
particular event, we've got a number of these.
All the little
You can show them or not, but anyway, it was a samurai festival.
oh that's
So these were people who marched along in that same vicinity where the vendors were. There was a lot of food vendors.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, here's a selection of some things. You can show them quickly.
Well, let's just show these. Looks like people marching.
They were marching.
It's very similar to,
Like displaying their garments and their
okay,
traditional garb. Beautiful
next one.
hair.
Are we going too fast for you, Dennis?
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, no.
Look at the
I
hat.
can see it very well.
That looks like a graduation thing though, isn't it?
No, that's not a
Imagine
graduation. These
how
are
elaborate.
serious groups of samurai, various.
And these are the youngsters
children.
learning.
They were the first to march.
Yeah,
There was quite a group of them.
maybe they're learning some kind of art, movement art also.
Yeah.
Martial arts.
These are some of the things that Lou saw. You're watching Lou Ismay's
Now,
trip.
there's
This is Lou Ismay's trip to Japan, and he's noticing things that you would notice as an individual to try to look at the culture that he visited. And it's interesting to show the similarities at the same time, the differences that they have. And one of the things that I find fascinating so far
Are the differences?
is that the weather conditions are posted on street signs, the speed conditions, which I think is very important. And we should be thinking about adopting that here as well as.
Now I see something in this picture that interested. What is she holding, or he holding, like a torch?
That big thing there.
These were symbols of the related to whatever group of samurai were going by.
Okay, so that's their identifying symbol.
Yeah, for them, yeah.
Okay.
No, this is beautiful. It's like an
That's
enclosed.
another one in the evening, yeah.
Oh, is that?
Notice that's being carried on the shoulders or something.
Is there someone inside, or is that a religious?
Well, samurai were the honored, and the still are the warriors.
Yes.
And that's something that house is a house built. They pick it up, and there's like 8 or 10 people watching with that house on
carrying it on their shoulders.
Right. Okay. I just want to show that out.
Is it like a small portable temple of some kind?
It could be. There's 2 people, one in front and one.
Yes.
Now, if you're hearing this on the radio, because this goes on audio as well, you'll be able to go to our program on our either YouTube, Bridges Programming, and look for Lou Ismay for today's date, which is Sunday on the front stoop, and you'll be able to see what we're showing you on the video portion of this. So you'll actually be able to see this, and I think if Dennis can see it reasonably clearly, I think everybody else will. So can you see this reasonably clearly, Dennis?
How many people are carrying this one? Because they've got 2 people up there on it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably 10 or 12 people
Yeah.
carrying that. Dennis, can you see that all right? Were you able to see that?
Oh, yes, I can see all of these very well.
Okay.
And can I ask a quick question?
Sir,
Good, regarding Japan. Of all the countries in the world, let's just say we are at one end where we say not socialist or communist. Let's say capitalism. Let's say the other side would be Russia. I'll say communism, but if we get closer to socialism, near Russia might be China or Cuba. I just wanted to ask Lou where Japan sits, just roughly from communism all the way over to capitalism.
You asked me where Japan is.
No. He's asking you in a scale of communism. He divided the world up just now into communism, capitalism, and socialism. I'm suggesting that, and I do this a lot, we have a problem with the way we divide the world up. What I'm saying is that what Dennis's question was, on a scale from capitalism to communism, where would you fit Japan into that scale? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, a philosophical structure of their
No,
government?
the actual structure.
The structure of their government?
Would you say they're communist? You're asking whether Lou feels it's capitalist, socialist, or communist.
Are those the only choices?
Well, I was just wondering where Japan sits. If you just, look at the whole world, there's about 200 countries in the world. So let's just say that Russia, we'll call it far left, as far as like communism or whatever. And maybe next to Russia might be China or Cuba, whatever. And then over on the other side, on the other far right, you might have the United States with capitalism, Great Britain, England, capitalism. And I was just asking where Japan sits in there.
Japan is a democracy. It's also in a way a republic because it elects people to the government, represent them. It also has an emperor.
Wow.
You see, the difficulty is with us when we want to say we must give something a label.
Right.
See, and the minute you label,
Yes,
the minute you label something, you put it in a box and you can make your decision about it.
And made it less than what it really is.
Yes, but the division of countries are not real divisions. They're divisions that are man-made, not nature-made or God-made.
Well, let me
go ahead.
I want to comment here. The history of communism, the idea of a communal, not communism, a communal arrangement was for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
In our country, we share in sort of what somebody will call a socialist thing, which is also a label.
Mm-hmm.
Social meaning it's something that's shared by people. Our roads are shared.
So far.
Our schools so far are shared. We have this part of our democracy, which we ignore in terms of the label. But it is socialism to do that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And libraries.
It is capitalism to want to earn money.
Off of everything.
Capitalism is very, very good for the people who have business or in some way gambling or stocks or whatever they do in order to share not to share, but to earn for themselves the money. Now, there are some good aspects of that. But be careful, because in some cases, what we're going to do, Dennis, I'm going to avoid answering you directly because I don't know how to answer you directly. But I will offer a thought which might be helpful in our thinking. Take the best part of capitalism, which is creativity.
Right.
Find a way to eliminate the worst part of capitalism, which is deadly, which is thinking solely of oneself. Do a little bit more of what the Pope was suggesting and other people have in the past and will again in the future. How can we provide for people? Maybe through the HERM, but we have to find a way to provide for people. If we don't, we're going to have stresses. It's not that people are lazy, it's the way the system is structured. So,
Right.
all right, so that's really, I can give you the history of communism and a little bit about fascism and a little about Nazism. I can tell you, give you some idea of what was its similar. All were similar, and there was a dictatorship. The idea of a communistic kind of a country turned out to be a dictatorship with Stalin as the one who was at the head of the pyramid. We could easily turn into a dictatorship if we had a president and a political party who structured it toward that particular thing. We could have one person who gave all of the instructions and manipulated the society.
Manipulated the society.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what I look for is I hear the word greed a lot, and especially from Dennis, we've discussed this many times. I think that the capitalistic portion or the greed, I don't believe in greed. I believe there are certain people who are very ambitious and they love to work. I don't think that's being greedy. That's what they as an individual want to do. However, on the downside of that is as they're doing something to make money, they're killing other people around the world.
And in our own country.
Of course. So what I'm saying is that we have to say that allow human beings to do what they choose to do, work as hard as they want to work, but they can never, ever be allowed because of a measurement to hurt another person, either in this country or around the world. And without a measurement, we can't figure out how that works. Because as a species, we require a measurement. An animal doesn't require measurements, but human beings require a way. In other words, what is a minimum wage? Is it a living wage, and what should that be? It has to be measured in the actual physical needs of a human being: education, food, and shelter, for not slavery, but about an hour's worth of work. Well, you don't need to put an economic number on that or a dollar value. Those are numbers that are based on human on humanity's physics.
I'd like to comment. In our country, money enables, unlimited money is given for political campaigns. That's just the way the situation is now. Several $billion is estimated will be spent on the next presidential election. Who can afford that kind of money? Well, it turns out to be very few people can afford to give large sums of money for the political campaigns. So it's human nature. I give you something of great value. Will you help me when I want something? Certainly. Mm-hmm. So we have a government that's purchased through television and whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Some people telling the truth and other people absolutely lying.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But we choose by personality in our country. Mm. We like the guy or the man or the woman who's joyful, who can be humorous, who can be like us. Mm.
We want to be like them.
If you notice, political campaigns, the people who are campaigning are not dressing in ostentatious fashion, even though each one is a millionaire or a multi-millionaire. Right. They dress in everyday clothes. You can go and find them in the clothes rack in a great many stores. Mm-hmm. So they appear like the population.
You and I, but they're not.
Anyway, I got a couple more about you.
Yes.
This is.
Oh, wait,
Yes,
you didn't tell us about this one.
Yeah, outdoor parking notices, backup parking. Underground parking, same thing, you back into your stall.
Very much safer. Jeff,
Yeah.
you do that all the
Yeah, I
time.
back in all the time. I believe backing into, so you can drive through, you drive out, you won't won't run into somebody.
It's not unusual. These happen to be in a more restricted area, but playgrounds for children. You can drive along and see a lot that has only one of these big things in it.
Right.
Children just gathered there.
Uh-huh.
I was fascinated with the way that bicycles are parked. They're parked like that. Each one carries its own little parking space.
That's familiar.
Oh,
These
yes.
playgrounds are similar to what
You know, this
we
is
see
interesting.
the new
I want to bring
playgrounds
something
around here.
about, Lou is showing us that you have a stand to park your bike.
There it is,
Built
yeah.
into the bike.
Oh, yeah, you put it down right
Now,
from the bike.
now, I want to bring something out while you brought this up. We were in, we took pictures of it. We have pictures of this. When we went to Puerto Rico for a conference, for the Relax conference,
Renewable Energy Latin America.
Expo, we walked around Puerto Rico, and then we found that
San Juan.
in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and there's all the tools to fix a bicycle are hanging by cables. So when your bicycle breaks, you just go over to one of these things and fix it right on the sidewalk.
Right.
And they're cable, wrenches and tools and gizmos and screwdrivers and pressure gauges and pump is right there. So people can fix their bicycle tires right on the street as they go. I just thought, and the other thing, when you look at bicycles in San Juan, Puerto Rico, we noticed that in the very poor parts of San Juan, in private homes, people had horses staked out on their lawns. You know, just a horse. So I got talking to someone who had a horse in their front yard, and he spoke English. And I said, "What's the deal with the horses?" He said, "Well, we can't afford a car, so we use this to go to our neighbors. And then when the horse gets a little old, we demolish the horse, and that's our food for the week, for the month or 2 months. And then we get another horse." So that's the way it works there. I mean, there was this amazing, and of course, Japan is much more affluent than Puerto Rico in most cases.
They made different adjustments.
So there again, then as you can see, the two different countries we're talking about, where someone's going to kill their horse and use it for transportation first, and then of course slaughter the horse for food. And the same, and again, they have bicycle repair shops in Puerto Rico. At the same time, in Japan, you're seeing a different culture, which is I thought interesting. Anyway, go on. Sorry, I just wanted to.
So
Hey,
they're
Dennis, you have a question?
Sure.
Well, because I think it's a great question for Sunday on the front stoop, because when, if you go to church, you talk about love thy neighbor, thou shalt not kill. There's two cities in Japan. One is called Hiroshima, and the other one Nagasaki. I was going to ask Lou if he visited either of those two.
Well, there was a big celebration on the 70th anniversary of both of those tragedies, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Two separate holidays on a roll. People are against the majority of people in Japan are against what the government has just recently approved, having Japanese military forces available to use elsewhere in the world. Japanese are against that. They're against the nuclear power that still is there. They're an ancestor. First of all, they are very polite and very thoughtful. The Japanese way is to think of the other person, not to offend the other person, help the other person, even put themselves out in an inconvenient situation in order to be that thoughtful, that courteous. When you meet somebody, you say the time, greet with the time of the day. You just don't pass somebody without something. Ticket taker toll taker at the highway, or somebody checking somebody of authority.
Mhm.
So
It's courtesy.
yeah, the courtesy.
In other words, you're respecting, when you see someone on the street and like a waiter, you thank them for their work. If you see them, you acknowledge the fact they're a person.
Yes.
You just don't take them for granted,
Yeah, and
which is totally different than this country is.
and there is no tipping. Man or woman behind the counter, or whatever they're doing, serving you at the table or whatever. There's no tipping.
And by the way, can I
Because
address
there's
that? I want to
a
address that
salary.
because when you tip somebody, you're saying you're doing a good job and therefore I'm going to pay you extra for that. But in Japan, your job is your satisfaction is your job. And then that holds true with a lot of countries. So when you tip someone, you're actually belittling them because of the tip. So when
Or
you,
the lack of it.
but if you in this country, what I try to do when you tip somebody, you also thank them very much for their service, or you did a good job, or you kibitz them to show that they're on the same level as you, even if they didn't have the same amount of money. You respect the fact of their humanity. Do I have that right? Okay, I just wanted to bring that up.
Are this then the salaries are sufficient?
I was not free to stop and ask questions.
Mhm.
First of all, I was partially disabled, but I didn't have the time. My time was governed entirely by other people.
Yeah.
So to spend time and do some research and ask
Right.
some questions. Sure, there's a great many people speak English quite
Yeah.
well, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
I mean, accents and stuff is really quite wonderful. I got a couple more.
Okay, go ahead. Let me have those.
Yeah, this is a stop sign along the highway. I just
And there's
noticed
in
the shape.
English, right?
That's
like
much different than our stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also it's like our yield sign too.
Yes.
And this is
Must be why they.
this is a photograph of
I don't think
some
we'll be able
hawks.
to see that.
See, we can.
Let me see it.
It's okay.
I'll tell
Get
this.
as close as you can.
Well, you can
Yeah,
see the
see
bird.
that
little-
speck right there?
Yeah.
Can you get closer with the spec?
It looks about the size of our turkey vulture.
Yes.
It's a hawk.
Right.
And along the beaches, along the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
in part, these things congregate around the tourist areas and the beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And they are known to sweep down and take the ice cream cones out of people's hands and fly off and eat them. It took me quite a while to get a photo because they just soar around the past in a traveling automobile. It's a challenge.
To get a good
picture of it.
picture.
Yeah. I was just very
So
fortunate.
that's one of the
So that's okay. You get
contacts
a little closer.
between
Get a little,
nature.
see if you can get a little closer.
Well, it's out of focus if I get much closer,
okay,
but you
yeah.
can see
But
that's
that's a
hawk.
hawk, and it takes ice cream cones out of your hand.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is-
a whole, yeah.
And they're about a 5 foot
I
wingspan.
do not, I'm guessing that's it, but I
Oh my
don't,
gosh.
maybe
You're kidding.
four.
Four
Anyway, four or five. I don't know the
I
species.
definitely would give up my ice cream cone. Definitely.
They're warning signs, I understand, on the beaches, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, watch out for the
Now,
hungry hawk.
I am not gonna show the photographs, but I'll tell you. I don't want to offend anybody. But on the toilets, there's an arm that's used for flushing.
Mhm.
But on the arm, you have a choice. You can get flushed, washed. You can use hot water, cold water. Don't show it.
Well, because I want to see
You
it.
can look.
I want to see it, so I see what you're talking about.
He just wants to look.
I
He
wanna-
won't put it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he just
So,
wants to.
so it's a matter of convenience. Now, I went to a McDonald's. I was interested to see just what does a McDonald's restroom look like.
Yeah.
It's quite different.
Oh,
And I have photographs, but I don't want to offend anybody. Putting them on
I
there.
understand.
Now,
So they didn't take on the Japanese design.
They really, really are.
No, they did.
Sanitation is
Oh,
very
okay, they
important.
did.
No, they, as a matter of fact, what Lou is talking about is when you go to the McDonald's or the fast food place that he walked into, they had a bidet built right into the toilet.
Yeah.
So you can use the bidet for your choice of how you want to be sanitized.
But they are very, I've seen some that just look gorgeous as a piece of, right. I just took
Like almost a
photos.
sculpture.
Yeah, I didn't take photographs of the other,
Yeah.
but just for fun, I said, well, let's see, I go to McDonald's sometimes.
Yeah. So you checked it out.
Now, this is not the McDonald's, this is ducks.
Yeah.
And what about these ducks?
People appreciate wildlife. They gather around a pond of flowers or wildflowers, and so they ducked. Large carp, maybe.
Yes.
Koi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Now that these look almost like our mallards here, but they are different.
A little different.
A little different. Yeah.
Now, the other thing I want to bring out is that Lou brought a thing of how the railroad maps are and how enormous and how well they are. But because we're running out of time, we only have about 9 minutes left. But I want to.
Well,
we maybe have to do it.
Get some idea of the massive.
Beautiful. Oh my God.
Now this is about 100 miles. You think?
Oh, roughly.
Can you put that up closer to?
One side is Japanese and the other side is English. Show the English side.
This is Tokyo. What you're saying?
Tokyo area.
I gotta that show up. I can't see it.
I can see it. It's fine.
But just look at the colors representing private and public transportation networks.
Can you see that good, Dennis, over there?
Yeah, you can see it. I can.
It was just the idea that
Dennis?
it's massive. Now,
I can see all of this, but you have to give me 20 seconds from when you put it up to the screen for it to come over the video.
Okay. How's that? Can you?
It's great.
all right, just the idea of what it's like. It's massive.
And the colors, of course, coordinate
Colors according to the
where you're going.
the railroad line, company that or the
At
organization.
this moment, I see a map coming up to the screen. So that was
Right.
probably 20 seconds after Susan held it up to the screen.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. Well, that's very good, and you can see the way the railroad
And
layout,
here's the key.
and that's over about 100 miles compared to what we do in probably 20 miles.
Well, we once had an excellent, extremely efficient light rail system. We had a trolley line. Trolleys connecting Saratoga, Kinderhook, Nassau, Saratoga Springs, all through there. Albany, Schenectady, Troy. If you travel the Schenectady Troy Road, you will still see a few of the signs that says stop 10, stop whatever the number is, stop 10A, stop 10 and 11 and 12. And then as the dwellings fill in the area, they put an A stop in there between, so that you could travel efficiently.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you all. We wanted to get to the Pope stuff too, but we're not going to have time today. But the encyclical for the Pope, we have started to put up on our programming, and we did it in sections. The first section is already up.
It's read. It's read.
It's read by
various
people
narrators
for what the Pope has said. He's also did a very interesting speech when he addressed Congress this week. And he's saying the same things we are, that all humanity have to come together, not socialism or communism or capitalism. As a species, we have to come together. We definitely need people who want to work harder and they want to use their brains and improve the world. They may work 12, 15 hours a day. And we also have people who just like to enjoy life and play with their grandchildren and just live life. And they should have quality of life. They shouldn't have to suffer. They shouldn't have to worry about where the next meal's coming from. And so the Pope is saying we have to take into account, come together as a species, stop killing one another, make sure we don't have love of money rather than love of life. He's mentioned
and not be afraid of the differences,
yeah,
to embrace the differences, because we're all immigrants.
It's not, we're all immigrants
Right.
in this country. You mentioned this specifically, that most people coming to this country were immigrants. We weren't born here. There's very few left, the Native Americans. They were the originals, as far as I know. But we all need to come together, and that's what Bridges Programming tries to do. Lou, being someone who just came back from Japan, to show you the positives and negatives of the thing, mostly positive.
Cultures can learn from each other.
Right.
You know, they've solved similar problems that everyone faces, and they solve them in different ways, and sometimes the ways are better, and that's when you should adopt, you know, as a culture, they should be universally adopted.
So this is some of the
culture.
things we are looking at, and I want to just bring out the fact that I want to just bring out the fact that it's why we're here, is we're trying to explain that there may be a better way to measure the society, and so we can understand it better, that all human beings must have their basic needs met. It can be measured now because of science. They should never be in slavery. The borders between countries are man-made borders, and we change cultures and we divide ourselves. We need to come together as a species. And people tell me that you're a world order man. I say, yeah, if the one world order benefits humanity, certainly we want a one world order, but it has to benefit humanity, and that's the important thing.
I think we want to thank Lou, you know, really, because this has brought, I mean, these are things, these photographs and your commentary on these photographs. I mean, they brought out details that I had no idea, you know, that this was, you know, the arrangements that have been made in Japan, you know, for the comfort of people, and for, I mean, it really is aimed toward people interacting toward each other's benefit, and even the government, you know, is participating on that level with the, you know, the way that they're arranging the physical structure of a big city like Tokyo. I mean, it's very impressive what you observed, and you brought us,
yeah,
you know, a way to see it.
Now, Dennis, do you have anything you want to bring out?
Well, I want to thank Lou for, did you ever hear of something called Democracy Now! News and Review? And Lou, do you do a show every week?
Yep. He's been doing that for years. But the thing is, it's quite an effort to lay out what he found in Japan.
Well, it's a lot of work to travel and to remain in another country for a while.
What's beautiful about
we're benefiting from Lou's
What's beautiful about our society now is you can go online and actually look at cultures all over the world and see what they're like. Get rid of the propaganda. Enjoy what you see, and I want to thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week, and we'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you so very much. Let me see if I can get this to.
Bye, Dennis.
Let me go back.
Bye, Susan. Bye, Jeff. Bye, Lou.
Bye.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you very much.
Your neighbor's out of work because they closed the factory. You try to stretch your paycheck, but it's never quite enough. Oh, energy, energy. It all comes down to you, energy. You wonder where the money's gone. Well, here's some fuel for thought. It all comes down to energy.
So that's another savings.
Fossil fuel affects our lives like ripples on a lake. Cars and farms and factories and trucks. Spectacular supplies go down and prices soar. Our futures are at stake. And when it's gone, it won't come back, and we'll be out of luck. Oh, energy, energy. It all comes down to energy.
You wonder where the money's gone. Well, here's some real good thought. It all comes down to energy. We can get our energy from corn and grass and trees. Even trash converts to biofuels.
Thank you all for listening. We'll be back again on Wednesday. And listen to Paul Marco's programs on Saturdays. And again on our many other stations that we broadcast on. Thanks again.
It all comes down to energy. You wonder where the money's gone. Well, here's some
Don't forget to spread the HREM around, Human Renewable Energy Measure.